friends, it's Kelly and welcome back to my channel. So today we're back outside, we're finishing up, at least we're going to try and finish up some of these outdoor projects that we have going on. It's been really fun getting to do all these projects. You can see here my husband did have some soil delivered, and what we're going to do is fill up these garden beds that had been kind of demolished during our renovation of our front walkway, and we're going to try and save these plants. You can see the one back here, this boxwood, got hit the hardest. Some of its roots are exposed, so I want to get the dirt in there as quickly as possible. But this requires doing some cleanup in these gardens. The tree we have in the front is beautiful, but it has these little, what my husband calls helicopters, and look at them, they're everywhere. So it's impossible to get them all out, but I'm going to do my best. There's a lot of rocks in the front garden too. Here on the side garden, we started to do a little bit of cleanup as well. We've moved some plants around. I've taken out some plants. I mentioned in another video that there are some plants here that I don't know if they're weeds or if they're flowers, but when I looked it up, it said it can be considered both, if you can believe it. But they were toxic to animals and toxic to your skin if you got the sap on you. So we quickly eliminated these and got them out of the garden as quickly as we could. But we're going to do a little bit of cleanup here. I'm going to be moving some of the plants, the sedums especially, because you can see they're crowded with the lilies and things like that. And we're going to just do some cleanup around the area, and I'm excited to get going on it. Because we just had our front garden done, our front walkway, and I'll leave a video to that if you want to go check it out. We of course did not want to ruin the stonework and all the great work the guys did. So my husband is just rigging up some ramps so that he can bring the wheelbarrow up, dump the soil in to the garden so I can get cleaning and planting my flowers here, my hydrangea. I'm so excited. But here I was just trying to get out some of the rocks. There were some big rocks from the renovation of the walkway, and it was virtually impossible to get them all out. So we just dumped the soil in once I got as best I could out of there. And then I'm going to give my hydrangeas a good drink of water before I start planting them into the front. I'm so excited to finally have some hydrangea in my garden. So we're just going to get to doing that. I do want to say I'm sorry, apologize for my voice in these clips. If it sounds a little raspy, I did come down with that. Stupid. I hate these summer colds, like it's the worst. Anyways, as you can see also in these clips, my attire is not very becoming, but this was on a day when I was also working on the back deck, and I had to let things dry and in the sunshine, or I couldn't stain in the direct sunlight. If you want to go see what I did with my back deck, I'll leave a link to that video in the cards above. But here I'm just kind of mapping out for my husband so he can see where to dig, how far out to dig, like where, the width of the pot, so he can take it out a little bit further to give me room to plant my hydrangea here. And this is a tip this is something I've done for years. I just kind of map it out, and for bigger plants like this, he'll come in and do the heavy lifting and the heavy digging, and it just helps to give us a good guide as to how big we need the hole to be. The other thing I like to do with my plants, even if they are perennial flowers that I'm putting in my garden, and I learned this tip from Martha Stewart years ago. I am dating myself now, but that's okay. But she always suggested leaving a little trench around the plants, not right at the base, like not right at the root ball, but away from the plant a little bit. And that's where, that way, when you water it in, the water just doesn't run off. It allow it to soak into that root ball and really get it to establish itself. I've done this for years, and I have had great success with my perennial flowers, with my annuals, everything. So I just like to leave a little trench around the base of the plant, but not right beside it, if that makes any sense to you. I had mentioned in a previous video, I think it was my walkway reveal video, that I am too impatient to plant in annuals and separate flowers in a pot. So what I like to do is use hanging baskets. Now my trick here is I will fill the pot up so far, put the pot that the hanging basket has come in, put that in the planter to make sure I have the right height for the plant, which is just below the top of my new container. And then I will fill it up with that planter pot inside, so when I take it out, I have the perfect size hole for my hanging basket plant to go in. And then I just fill in around the sides. This is something I've done for years. I've had great success with it. So I hope this gives you some ideas on how to easily transplant hanging baskets for instant gratification into a pot on your yard. Now the other thing we will be using that big bag of earth for is so my husband can reseed some of our grass where it was destroyed by all the work on the front walkway. He is the king of grass and all things grass seeding, so he is anxiously waiting here in the background to get going so he can start to, spread down the grass seed and the black earth. And I have to say, by the time this video goes up, it looks like we have a brand new lawn. He really is a master at this. I always make sure to give my freshly planted plants a nice dose of fresh water, but also with some fertilizer in it, just so that it helps those roots establish into the garden. It's worked for me every time. Hopefully, I've never planted hydrangea, so fingers crossed this one works here. Now here on the side garden, we've kind of let it go for a number of years. We're not very happy with it, so we're just trying to figure out what to do with it. And we transplanted some of the hostas that were from the front that weren't going to fit back into the garden after the walkway was done. We've taken out those poisonous, quote unquote poisonous, toxic plants from here, and so there's a lot of gaps. There's just a lot of green. I don't know what to do here really. It gets so much sun in the day and it's really hard to figure out what to put here. So I thinned out some of the lilies. They are starting to bloom. I would have liked to have thinned them out a bit more, but because they're blooming, I don't want to disturb them. So my idea was to get some trellises and do some climbing roses or clematis. At first I thought I would just do roses, and then my husband said, well, why don't you try both? So I thought, okay, that's a great idea. And so I went out and I picked up some of these. They're just black metal 5-foot trellises from my local garden store. They were only about $17 each, and I think they'll add a nice little like dimension over here. Nice, some interest on this side wall too. And I don't know if this is going to work, but anyways, I put them in here, and I got a clematis plant and I got a climbing rose. I've always wanted roses. I've never tried them, so this will be a real test for me to see if I can make this work. And I kind of like the way these trellises are on the side garden. we're really limited where we can put them. We can't put things in front of the window, you know, that's a fire hazard. There's you know, my dryer vent, can't put it there. And then of course the water heater is right there too. You can't put anything in front of it. So unfortunately, those ugly things have to stay in plain view. And here's my clematis. I'm going to put one over here and then put a beautiful climbing rose bush on the other end. So I did do quite a bit of research on how to plant climbing roses. I don't know if I've done it right, but we'll see. It does say it can take a lot of full sun in the day, so we'll see. And we did amend the soil a little bit. I got it in, and I know from Martha Stewart, you have to keep the base of the rose above the soil. So that's what I was trying to show here, that little base is above the soil. Now I don't know if I put him in the ground right. I can't really get him over to the trellis. He's about as close as he's going to get unless I move the trellis out a bit. But I tried to twine one of the branches without breaking it. And something that was interesting to me in my research, it said that you want to train it to grow horizontally and not just vertically. If you train it horizontally to go across the trellis side to side, you'll get more of a bushy, more flowers. So I'm excited for that. The clematis, gosh, this was so simple to wrap the twines around the trellis. No problem there. I think this one is going to be pretty happy in this spot. Now the other thing we did notice in our front garden, when we went to put out our little garden solar lights, some of them weren't firing up even if they sat out in the sun. So we went to our local Home Depot, and these ones were on sale for $29.99 for 4-pack, and they're really, really great quality. So we thought, you know what, let's replace them in the front garden. I mean, here's a look at the old ones. You can tell they've seen better days. And like I said, some of them weren't firing up out here no matter how much sun they got in the day. So we thought, you know what, let's just replace them. And I was so happy to agree with my husband. This was his idea. I didn't want to venture down that path because we've spent a lot of money so far, but he suggested doing this. So I happily agreed, and we found these at Home Depot. And I'll be sure to leave a link to these in the description box below in case you are interested in checking them out for yourself. I am in Canada, so these are from my Home Depot in Canada, but I am sure Home Depot in the US will have the same thing. So I'll see if I can find a link for these on the US site, but they are Hampton Bay, and I think that is a common brand for all Home Depots. What is especially nice about these ones is the top is metal, so they're very sturdy, nice glass. It has a little bit of a texture to the glass, so it throws off a really pretty light at night. Here you can see the difference between the two sets of lights. The other set we have had for a fair number of years. We were trying to remember just how long, and honestly, I think it's been at least 7-8 years, so good time to replace them. And here's a look at how the gardens are looking. The peony bush is in full bloom as I am doing this voiceover. My peonies are out. If you follow me over on Instagram, I would have posted a couple of photos and videos of them. They are just so beautiful. But we got the gardens all done, and now I'm going to turn my attention over to our garage. This is a couple of days later. My husband is taking out the window panes so he can clean from the work. He can clean the windows. They were so dusty and dirty from all the grime and all the work that we had done on the walkway. And so were these handles. I thought, you know, they were looking so old. They're just magnetic. They come off very easily. And then you can see there is some rust on the garage, so I thought I would work on that too. I thought I would have to give them a coat of spray paint, but honestly, once I washed them up with all the dust and grime, they were perfect. They didn't need spray painting. So I just took them into the house to give them a quick rinse, and then I came out to try and take off some of the rust, and honestly, it was not coming off. So if you guys have any ideas on how to get it off, I tried just hot water and soap, like dish soap. I tried what's that called, a magic eraser. We've tried everything and nothing was making it come off. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments below. But here you can see once I got them washed up, they were perfectly fine. So I just put them back on their place on the garage, and once the windows were all clean, the garage just looked so nice and refreshed. The amount of pollen this year that is falling on everything. I swear I can wipe this table down morning, and by nighttime I have to wipe it off again because the pollen is just so thick. So that's all I'm doing here, is just giving it a quick wipe down, and then I'm going to bring out some pillows and a little throw blanket that I had inside. I didn't buy anything new here because I haven't really found any pillows that I really love, and when I saw these ones in my house, I thought, you know, those might look pretty on the porch, so I'm just going to use them. They're not outdoor cushions. If it rains, I bring them in. Same with the blanket that you will see here soon, but that's no big deal. It's just stepping out on the patio and bringing them inside.
For you is all I need. Until my heart gives in, I will do everything I can for.
Now you're probably wondering why we are spending so much time working on our outdoor areas, and honestly, I have not felt like doing this for years. So things were starting to look old and run down. Just over a year ago now, I was diagnosed with a severe vitamin D deficiency, and I did a video on this last year. I'll leave a link to it as well in case you want to go check it out. It has some useful information in it. But remember, I am not a doctor. This is my experience only. But since I've been on high doses of vitamin D and magnesium and vitamin B, I feel like a brand new person. I feel like myself. And it is such a wonderful feeling. Now, also this year, I am retired, so my energy level is up because of that too. It's not all going to the daily work grind every day, but it really truly is because of I took care of my health last year. I had to prioritize it, and it's made such a world of difference. And I found my joy again in getting outside and working in my gardens and just doing all these little things. So that's why we've been spending so much time out here and just enjoying it and loving it. And as I always say to my husband, oh, the house is just looking so happy because we're starting to take care of her again. But go check out that video in case you're interested to hear the backstory behind all this too. So I just wanted to close off this video by saying thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Maybe it gave you a little bit of inspiration. Maybe you got some tips on some gardening things that you want to tackle. Or maybe you just had fun chatting with me today. I really do appreciate you being here. I do love bringing you these videos. It has been so fun to share the outside of my house this year and do all these little different projects rather than just home decor inside, which will be coming up soon. I got to turn my attention back inside and spruce up a couple of rooms. But until I talk to you in my next video, guys, I really hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you again for being here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, have a wonderful week.